बच्चे हैं पर आपको वो बेहद प्यारे जो दिल के सच्चे सच्चे तो हम सारे पलकों में पर्दे बच्चे हैं पर आपको वो बेहद प्यारे जो दिल से सच्चे सच्चे हैं। सच्चे दिल पर साहब राजी हर श्रीमत पर कहे हाँ जी एक बाबा तू जान कोई वादे के पक्के पक्के सच्चे दिल पर साहब राजी हर श्रीमत।
Wait, I'm just starting it off. एक minute.
Om Shanti Daksha Didi.
Shanti Panavan kai. Music Bagatisha, so we just start here.
Yeah.
Should we start, Panavan?
Just 1 minute.
Okay.
गणपति बापा मोरिया।
Om Bhurбhuvасваха Tatsvarito Varenyam Bhargo Devasya Dhimahi Dhiyo Yo Na Prachodaya. Om Bhurбhuvасваха Tatsavitur Varenyam Bhargo Devasya Dhimahi Dhiyo Yo Na Prachodaya. Om Bhurбhuvасваха तत्सवितुर्वरेण्यं भर्गो देवस्य धीमहि धियो यो न प्रचोदयाम्. I'll hand it over to Daksha Didi now. Daksha Didi, it's all yours now.
Thank you. Om Shanti.
Om Shanti.
And nice meeting all of you after a few weeks. I was away for a month and I've been actually back about a month, just under a month. And but I know various other sisters have been sharing with you. And it's good that we've been able to continue. We started end of January. So this morning I was thinking of picking up something from our study class about bringing newness. You know, I know January is long gone, but we need to have newness every day. And the point that I was thinking of to focus on is, of course, newness in our thinking. But before I carry on, you all can hear me okay?
Yes.
Good. So, you know, we have, sometimes we are in a cage, well, not sometimes, many times, in our thinking pattern, you know, in an old way. And sometimes when we think about newness, we think, I could get a new car, I could get a new dress, I could get a new furniture, I could go to a new place. And these are things that we come to our mind when we think about newness. But, you know, spirituality emphasizes on actually the newness within here. And how about a new thought? How about letting go of my old way of thinking? And this is what I'd like to focus on. And there was a very simple method that was being suggested this morning in our study class, applying a dot and a not. So just remembering these two words, that sometimes I would have to apply a dot, and other times I would have to say no. And so dot and not. Now, easy to remember. I like to make our practice very easy and simple, because easier it is, the more natural it can become, and easy for us to remember and adapt. So if you'd like, maybe there's something, you know, once I finish sharing, we'll of course do some meditation. But if we could think of something as we are talking about, and as we sit down for meditation, of what is one thing in terms of the way you think about things, the way you perceive things, you'd like to let go. And let's bring some newness in it. You know, like when you see a certain person, or when you see a certain situation, or when you see somebody has not emptied the dustbins or not washed the dishes, you know, and you get irritated, like it's a pattern that you've allowed to happen. But something on those lines that, you know, I'll now not do like that. And so the dot is allowing to put a full stop for anything that is negative that comes up in my mind, because we have to be very careful that our minds should not become like a bin. You know, when you have a bin and you keep putting all the rubbish in, and when you open the lid of the bin, what happens? So maybe you can't see the rubbish inside, it's well covered, but there's so much, you know, insects and so many infection that you could get. But we've done that for our mind, isn't it? We don't see that our mind can also become like a bin. And this is where I was thinking we'd like to bring newness, and, you know, can I do some spring cleaning of my mind? You know, the patterns that I've been holding on to, the way I think, the way I perceive situations, the way I interact with certain people. Can I make a change? And so things that trigger my wrong responses or negative responses is because I've not been able to apply a dot. And dot as in full stop. You know, in all the punctuations or any letters, dot is so simple to apply. You know, it's just a little dot. But yet when it comes to putting a break or a full stop to our thoughts, we take ever so long, sometimes, weeks, months, or years even pass by, and we're still holding on to one thing that has happened. Now, that thing has happened and gone, and it's not coming back in the same form again. But by me holding on to it, it's making my life so miserable, just like, you keep putting the rubbish in the bin, and once what happens within. So can we be kind to ourselves and not do that? Can we be merciful and be our own friend? Because we think, oh, but yet it did happen to me. No? So it's but natural that I'll think about it. Yes, it did happen, but why am I holding on to it? Like somebody very beautifully described, what is anger? See, anger is a punishment that we give to ourselves for somebody else's mistakes. Yeah. So whether it's a situation, whether it's a person's behavior, whether, things they do or things they say or things that they wear you don't like, but that's them. Why can I not put a full stop to thoughts? It's not that I'm running away from, the fact that it is happening or has happened, but I acknowledge, I learn, and then I move on. So putting a full stop to all that waste and that comes our way, and really making my mind as a beautiful place where I can rest, where I can take comfort. Because, see, even if there is no comfort anywhere else externally, but if there is comfort within, then it's so helpful. Yesterday and a couple of days ago, so the family had come. They don't speak English. They come from a different country, and they're being, accepted as refugees, and the paperwork is going. But one of the sister and one child, and the wife and the child have actually done some of these meditation sessions back from the country they've come. And you could see that though they are here and they've left their countries, they're not sure what's going to happen to them, but there was so much, kind of happiness. There was so much contentment and trust that everything will be okay. Everything will be okay. And if situations improve, then they'll go back to where, their own country. And it was just so lovely to see that it wasn't like you felt mercy for them, okay, we helped in whatever way we can. Because they back home, they used to go to our centers. Of course, I don't know them personally. But I was thinking, later on that how come they had so much happiness and joy? It's not just the relief from where they've come, but because there's acceptance. They haven't allowed waste thoughts to go on, thinking that why it shouldn't happen to them. They were all well settled there, and now they have to come here, etc., etc. So, and we're going to see more and more of that. There's so much happening in the world. There's so much uncertainty, and it can happen to any of us. So am I able to put that full stop and also refrain myself from allowing things that are not right to come? And so applying a dot, but also saying no to waste, no to Maya, illusion, no to weaknesses, no to, things that are not helping me. So yes, being practical, but really actually saying no to what is going to be harmful. And again, we have to look at, with the newness, that what is harmful and what is useful. Because so often our focus is on of getting something. But really, spirituality teaches us that if I start looking at things in a different way, in a different light, we'll soon realize that actually, when we are in the position to share and give, there's far more joy and abundance than when we are at the receiving end. Yeah, because always, normally as a human nature, in the last many years, we've been always taught, saying, where is my benefit? Mera fayda kahan hai? But it's not that where is my profit going to be, or where am I going to gain something, but where I can share with others. So with this awareness, we'll sit for meditation. I'll share a few thoughts, and you can try and experience as much as you can. If you can't keep following the trend of thoughts I'm sharing, that's also okay. But make sure that whatever you're thinking in the next 15, 20 minutes is just going to be positive. So other thoughts, you will remember applying either a dot or saying no. So dot or not. So I'm just going to share a screen for you to focus on, so you can keep your eyes open, sit very comfortably, and I'll share a few thoughts, and then there'll be time for question answer. So I take my thoughts within. I remind myself as being of light, the soul, the spirit. And I take this few minutes to teach a lesson to myself, to train my mind on looking at bringing newness into my thinking. I am a being of light, child of God. I love myself. I like to do what my parent would want me to do. That is the Supreme Paramatma. Just like any physical parent would want the child to be nice, tidy, clean, keeping their things in order, tidying their room. Similarly, God would also like a place, which is the mind, that inner space, to be very, very clean. So I take this power by connecting with the higher source, From now on, I'll be very, very careful as to what I put in my mind. What is the memory that I'm going to hold on to of the past? I'd like to spring clean that inner space, which is meant to be that of rest and comfort. But when I look within, along with the good things, there are so many baggages of the past, the rubbish of the past that I'm holding on to. And of course, the next few minutes, we can't let go of all of them, but let's look at one or two that's been bothering us, that we were finding difficult to let go. So think of something, a situation, a person's habit, or their nature that keeps bothering you, or maybe even your own. Just look at one or two things. And when you look at it, it seems like that scene. It's very colorful, big landscape type portrait. Huge. But by understanding that I am a being of light, a child of God, now allow that huge posture, the scene that has been bothering me, turn into a very blurred vision. And the size of that poster shrinking and shrinking. Gradually becoming a dot. And even that dot, I let go of. No more. I learned what I needed to learn from that. I won't allow any more infection to spread by holding on to that memory. No more harm allowed. In fact, I learned to look at it with a newness. Wow, it taught me so much. And I learned that at such a young age. But now I let go of any feelings of discomfort, of dislike. Because now I understand that it's not a good thing to do. Well, it may be a natural response. But now I understand that I was really caging myself. I was in a cage and not free to fly. And now, as I learn to fly, I can reach new heights. And nothing can stop me. And it's not about being ambitious in a worldly way. But as we become matured, as we become wiser, more compassionate and more kind, more peaceful, and more content. These are the new heights I'd like to reach. And with this newness, there's just that inner joy oozing out for myself and that willingness to share with others. Because I don't need to pretend. I am who I am. And now I am allowing myself to bring that true nature of my to the forefront. So content. Because my inner space is becoming cleaner and cleaner. Where I can rest and be comfortable. And invite God in. So through God's company, the divine's company, I can be more empowered. So let's sit in silence the next few moments. Enjoying our inner space. There's far more cleanliness due to the newness that I have adopted in my thinking. I'd like you to think of one habit that you'd like to get rid of. Either you note it down on a piece of paper or in your mind right now or after the session. And also one response or your thinking to a certain situation that you have to face time and time again, to let go of that. So if you start with just these two things, adopting one good habit that you've tried many times but not had much success, and one of the way your mind thinks. If you note it down, say, this is what I'll do from today. And focus on that. Two things, especially for next 3 weeks, 21 days, at least. Because by then, having focused, remembering that no more of this or more of that, you will find that it becomes a natural habit. And then, of course, you can continue this process for lifelong. Taking one or two things that you want to bring change in, and giving that deep focus next 3 weeks, since you've decided, you will find that the change then becomes natural. Om Shanti. I'd like to take a few questions if there are any.
Didi, can I speak?
Yes, please.
I just find that having a positive attitude makes you let go of many things you don't need in life. You've got to accept the situation and say to yourself, do I really need this?
Absolutely.
And then you realize that it's not something you can't do without it, and you let go.
True. I agree. Yeah. And this is why the more we simplify our life,
That is the key.
that is the key, because you find that a lot of the great souls in the world, their lives were very, very simple.
Thank you, Didi.
And I remember that recently, a couple of days ago, there was one sweet word that was mentioned in our study class, a sweet reminder that we are guests. And maybe I've already shared this story with you, but anyway, I will still share it so that you're more aware. It's a Sufi story, and there was a person who was visiting a place where Sufi used to live, and he went to see him, and he said, because he had heard so much about him, but he found that the life was very simple, the room was very simple, And then he asked him, but where's your furniture? Because he had very basic things with him. And he said, well, where is yours? And so this visitor said, well, I'm a traveler, I'm a guest. I just come here for a little while, so I don't bring furniture with me. And that was Sufi's reply, saying, I'm a traveler too. And so when we remember that we are mehman, we are a guest, and the word in Hindi that goes well with it, mehman and mahan. And so for us to become great or achieve greatness, we don't have to have too many things. In fact, the lesser we have, greater we are in many ways. Now, that doesn't mean we become beggarly or we, wear tattered clothes and, be untidy. No, be very, very simple, clean and tidy. But that's where your greatness lies. Thank you. Anyone else?
Didi, you said forget, forgive and forget. We sometimes forgive people, but it's very difficult to forget when it's your own who sort of hurt you in a way. And the distance starts from there. And how do you stop that distance? You become very close and suddenly something happens and the same thing happens over and over again. Like it's like similar to like a periodic thing happening. And it's nothing to do with the two of us. It's to do with an outside body who is influenced by saying something and the other person takes it very negatively. How do you, get rid of those thoughts and free your mind of that?
So what I would suggest is that the more I connect with the higher source and take whatever I need from Paramatma, then how people behave or don't behave will not bother me as much. And at some point not bother me at all. And when things stop bothering us, then they stop repeating. See, things keep coming to us because there's a lesson we need to learn. But when we don't learn the lesson, then it keeps happening again and again. Yeah. So, when I stop taking sorrow from that situation or person's behavior or even a third party, then it stops coming to me. But until I've learned that lesson and not moved on, in one form or the other, it will happen. And this is why they say, like when you are upset with something or when you're not very comfortable, it's just changing the place or changing the job or changing a situation. In that way, it doesn't help because wherever you go, you carry your sanskar with you. Yeah? You carry your personality with you. And this is why it is important that the change needs to be within. And the more I connect with God, the more I sense the love of God, then I'm not dependent on anybody else to make me happy. And when it stops affecting me, and when there's no expectations, then they stop bothering me. But people will give us sorrow till I take sorrow, till I feel victim. But if I stop taking sorrow, then they won't give me, so they'll find somebody else. Anybody else?
Yep.
Does anybody have a question?
Didi, I just want to say something.
Yes.
Again. My granny always used to say, your 5 fingers aren't the same, so you can't get on with everybody. You try your best, and if the response is negative, you let go. You wish them good luck, and you carry on. And I thought that was a good lesson.
Yes, indeed. Very wise. Yeah. I'd like to add to it that Daddy Janki used to often talk about the 5 fingers. That yes, very, very different. One is long, so it's, one is always pointing to God. One you put like for your in early days, we didn't have signatures, but we used to have thumb imprint. Yeah. So, and even till today, a lot of these imprints are still, the signatures are the thumb imprint. So each of them has, their own beauty. So it's not just that they're not same, but each of them has a beauty. So if I understand and work with that awareness, then it is possible for us to do a lot. Like a little finger on its own, one finger or two fingers on its own, how much can they do? But when the whole hand, the palm comes together, all the fingers, there's so much we can achieve. And so what your grandma was saying was very, very wise, but we could probably add a little bit more about working with unity, with our differences, because when we stop trying to convert people, to be like who I am, or I start wanting to be like them, then you'll find that our own true nature is emphasized and enhanced, and we can bring joy and beauty to the community. Anybody else would like to ask? You have to unmute, please.
But I always think negative, and I'm always scared, will I be able to do it or not? And I can't change myself.
Mm-hmm.
How can I do that?
Yeah, it's connecting with God. The answer to everything is meditation. That more I take from Baba, so then you find that. Sorry about that. So the more I take from God, and I remember that who is my companion, yeah. So then I don't. Excuse me. Then I'm able to actually get so much power from God. I remember I used to be very, very sensitive when I first started with the Brahma Kumaris. And, time to time I would, go to Dadi Janki, who used to be our spiritual guide. And she would often remind us that even though you are weak, you are sensitive, but who have you given your heart to? Who are you here for? It is God, right? So God is almighty. So always having God as a backbone helps.
Thank you. Thank you, Didi. Thank you very much, Didi.
Yes.
Can I say something?
Yes, please. Who is it?
It's Nima.
Oh.
Whenever I say Om Shanti, I remember that is drusty to me all the time, whenever.
Mm-hmm.
It's still like she's giving me a toli and giving me a drusty.
Mm-hmm.
And I feel blessed all the time. And also, I want to help a friend who is always thinking negative. And I just do my Hanuman Chalisa and just pray that good vibration, positive vibration goes to her. She's living far, little bit away, not very far. So, but still she can't change herself. So how do I help her?
Yeah, see, some things just take a long time, but you keep doing it, and maybe you can introduce her to meditation or spiritual way of life, and obviously the person has to practice themselves. Like there's a saying, no, we can take horse to the water, but the horse has to drink the water, right? So, प्यासे को पानी के पास जाना पड़ता है. So we can only guide them. We can't do it for anybody. So hopefully, with your persistence and your good wishes, she'll probably take one of these sessions and benefit themselves, right?
I tried so many times. I say, listen, 6:30, Shivani is coming. You listen to her. Oh, you can just listen to any good like meditation or something like that. But she said, no, whatever I'm doing, she does one diva, that's it, and upset about this thing and upset about that. So I said,
So
you're going to upset yourself all the time. Instead, you can divert your mind somewhere which gives you a peace.
good. So it's not a problem. You continue to have good wishes and not take sorrow from that, or sometimes it just takes time. I remember Dadi Janki often would have good wishes for a person, and it would take 10, 15, 20 years for them to understand what she was doing. But every time she met them or every time she thought about them, she continued to have that good wishes. So you continue to do that. Now you've received that meeting with Dadi, you've had the drishti from Dadi, that eye contact and the sweet, which we call as toli. So now you keep sharing that through your thoughts with everybody in your connection. Right? So is there any other question? Because we'd like to finish by 10. We can do a bit more meditation, but I could take one more question if there is any. Okay, so in that case, any question? Anyone? Let's finish with a few more meditation, a few minutes of meditation again. So sit back, relaxed. Being aware of myself as this being of light. Filling with myself with newness. I let go of past ways of thinking that hasn't been helping me so far. And taking the power from the higher source. I want to be kind to myself. For being kind. There are some things I need to let go. There's certain things I need to have courage to do. And I know, and I have the assurance that as I take one step of courage, God comes 1,000 steps forward to help me. So keep holding on to his hand. Because that hand that you're holding through your thoughts of the Supreme will guide you, will protect you from falling, making mistakes. direct you the direction to move forward. Things that felt so difficult earlier now seems very easy and very possible. Playing a song, just sit in silence and enjoy.
तुमने खूबी नवाजी है, जीत गए हम तेरी वजह से, जिंदगी की बाजी है। मान गए हम सच में तुझको, उम्दा तेरा काम है। शुक्राना हम करते दिल से, तुझको मेरा सलाम है। तुझे पाके जहाँ मैंने पाया, कुछ रहा नहीं बाकी। ऐसा प्रीत का रस बरसाया, कुछ रहा नहीं बाकी। तुम ही ने पहचाना मेरे ख्वाबों की इस तर्ज को, तुम ही ने तो कबूल किया है दिल की हर एक अर्ज को। लेके चलोगे मंजिल तक तुम, पलकों पे अपनी बैठा कर। सुलह हो गई खुद से मेरी, साथ आपका यूं पाकर। तेरे संग का रंग ऐसा छाया, कुछ रहा नहीं बाकी। कैसा प्रीत का रस बरसाया, कुछ रहा नहीं बाकी। तेरी मेहर है सबसे अव्वल, इसका जलवा आलीशान। चैनो सुकून का ये है दरिया, रूह ने पाया इत्मीनान। तेरी बदौलत सब हासिल है, मुझको ये एहसास है। नामुमकिन अब कुछ भी नहीं, तू जो मेरे पास है। तुझे पाके जहाँ मैंने पाया, कुछ रहा नहीं बाकी। ऐसा प्रीत का रस बरसाया, कुछ रहा नहीं बाकी।
Thank you.
Shanti.
Thank you very much. It was lovely. Very nice.
Shanti.
Thank you, Didi.
Om Shanti.
Om
Thank you,
Shanti.
Thank you,
Daxa.
Didi.
Thank you very much.
Om Shanti, everyone, for coming.
Om
Thank you very
Shanti.
much.
Shanti.
Om Shanti, Om Shanti. Daksha
Thank you,
Didi, Om
Varuna
Shanti.
Ben.
Om Shanti. Thank you.
Hello,
Thank you.
Manorama
Thank
Ben.
you. Daxa Ben, thank you. Om Shanti.
Om
Om
Shanti.
Shanti.
Nice to see you,
Very
Manorama Ben.
relaxing.
Thank
See
you.
you, Didi.
Very nice. Very relaxing.
Thank you, Didi. Very
Thank you,
relaxing.
Didi.
I know.
A lovely way to start the day.
Yeah, lovely.
Beautiful, beautiful. Thank you so much. See you next week, all of you.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye, bye, Manorama Ben.
Bye. Bye, Tani. Jai Shri Krishna. Om Shanti.
Om Shanti.
Thank you, Didi, and thank you, Panna Ben.
Thank
Bye,
you.
Nima Ben. Bye.
Bye.
Thank you, Didi.
Bye, Nima Ben.
Very nice
Suru bye.
session.